What's happening, everyone? Good morning. Welcome back once again. Wanted to just briefly give you a little bit of numbers because for me, it's very important that I pass on that information to you about where we are currently sitting in this economy right now. As we already know, everything right now nowadays is very expensive. You go to the gas station, you go to the food, you name it, right? That's inevitable. Everybody knows it. Everybody in the entire nation probably knows by now that everything is just costing more and more and more and more. So with that, obviously comes what's going to happen with the real estate market. What's happening in the real estate market? Because last year, just a year ago, everybody was making bids 100,000, 50,000, 25,000 over asking, and everybody thought it was going to last forever. Everybody thought that outright was going to be forever and ever and ever. Amen to that. But that's not the case. Obviously, things must come to an end, and we're starting to see that. It was inevitable that it was going to happen. So now I just want to briefly show you some of the numbers that I currently have right now sitting here on my desk, and these numbers come from the NAR, National Association of Realtors. And here you will find those numbers, and I'm going to briefly share those with you so that you can therefore see a little bit about these numbers that we actually are seeing here. So if you can tell here, these are the last months. Now with the National Association of Realtors, we always get the numbers 1 month behind. We're not going to get them in August because they go from June to July, so then we get those in August. So those numbers that I'm going to show you now are the ones that I'm going to be presenting you here. But as you can see, July 2022, the existing home sales were down 5.9%. 5.9% from June 2020, from June of last year, it's 20.2. So if you compare that from June of last year, it was 5.9. But if you compare that to a year ago, it's 20.2 from a year ago. So with that is with all four majors in the region. That is a month over month decline. Now I'm going to show you some of those regions because I want you to understand when they break these numbers down, where these numbers come from. Because for me, it's important that you understand how we break down the regions. So you got the West. Obviously, you got California, Oregon, Washington State, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Minnesota, Arizona, and then you go to the Midwest. You got North Dakota, South Dakota. You got Kansas City, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. Then you go to the South. You got Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, which is where I live. And then you got the Northeast, which is Philadelphia, New Jersey, Connecticut, New England, Vermont, New Hampshire. So these are the four regions and how you break it down. And obviously, I forgot here, you got Alaska and then you got Hawaii in the West. But these are the regions on how we break down each section here in the country. So this is 5.9% from a year ago, from a month ago, and then the 20.2%. So now, what is happening? Why are we seeing that? Well, a lot of it has to do with the fact that interest rates are going up. That's inevitable. We already knew that was going to happen. In order for prices to come down, interest rates have to go up. And I don't know if you understand exactly how that works, but I'm gonna do what I can, to educate you a little bit on that. But basically, when interest rates go up, we're not talking about just the real estate interest rates. We're talking about the entire index that controls the interest rates. So credit cards, personal loans, bank loans, student loans, um, car loans, and then obviously you got the real estate loans. So when the Federal Reserve, which in this case is Jerome Powell, if you don't know who he is, I highly encourage you do a little bit of research about who Federal Reserve is and what their job is all about, because that will educate you on understanding how your money is being worked, how your money is being moved around. Because guess what? We were taught to go to school, get a job, and pay our taxes. When we get a check, we got that. So now it's our job to understand how is it that our money works and how is it that the government is making those moves. So Jerome Powell is the Federal Reserve chair, and he's the one that controls what's happening with the interest rates. So with that being said, interest rates went up over the past 3 4 months, and that translates to the real estate market. Going back to this example, right now we're probably seeing them around maybe 5%. I don't remember, but as of last month, it was around 4.9. For some reason, they declined, but they started to go up. So now they sit around the 5%. At the beginning of the year, interest rates were probably around 3%, 3.25. Let's just say 3.75%. That is still 3.75. When you go back, and not when you go back, when you fast forward to today, 5.5%. Now you're seeing them around 5%, 5.5%. So that is an increase of almost 2 points. So what does that mean? When you basically get a loan, and I'm going to pull up my calculator here so that you can see how this mortgage affects how it affects your money when you are looking to buy a house. Mortgage calculator. So let's just say that you buy a house for, let's just say $500,000, right? Because I live in California, and $500,000 seems to be the average right now. But now let's just say that your interest rate was 3.5% at the beginning of the year. Okay, so 3.5%. Guess what? Your monthly payment would have been 2245, $2,200.45. Got it? So because when we go buy a house, we say, how much can I afford a month? I don't say, and I'm sure that you don't say, hey, I'm gonna go buy I can afford a $500,000 house. I can go afford a 4.5% interest rate. I can only afford a 3.5% interest rate. We don't say that. We say, how much can we afford a month? So based off of how much you can afford a month, then you get with your realtor. Your realtor says, okay, have you been pre-qualified? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Okay, let me connect you with the good lender. Let's do the paperwork. Let's get you pre-qualified. Once you get pre-qualified in the qualification process, actually, that's when you collect whatever debt you might have, whatever income you might have, whatever is it that it is required of you to get that loan. So that includes, putting all the debt together, putting all of your income if you have a spouse, or if it's just you. Let's just say you make $10,000 and then you have $4,000 in debt that you pay a month. Well, the lender is going to do their math, is going to run some numbers, and then based off how much debt do you have that you pay out monthly, based on how much income you have coming in, and then based on the house, how much you want to get qualified for. Then they go based off of that. They break down those numbers, and then they say, well, you qualify for a $500,000 house. Your interest rate is going to be 5%. Guess what? Your monthly payment is going to be about $3,000. I can't afford it because I can only afford 2245. Okay, perfect. That is a $500,000 house. Now let's just say you get that same $500,000 house, but now you're seeing interest rates at about 6%, which they're going to go up. That's going to happen. Interest rates are going to go up. Even if they go up to 6%, think about this for a minute. Back in the 1980s, interest rates for a mortgage were 18%. This is the Jimmy Carter era. Okay, now we're seeing a Joe Biden era where everything is just starting to go up. But that is political. What I'm saying to you is, let's just say that they go up to 6%. They're going to go up. Now, guess what? That same $500,000 house is $3,000. So you do the math. $3,000, and then earlier was 2250. That is a difference of $750 additional a month that you have to pay. So again, I go back to the example. When we buy a house, we don't say I can only afford a $500,000 house. We say no more than $3,000 a month, no more than $2,000 a month. But based off of that, sometimes you do a little bit of math and you say, oh man, I think $500,000 is a lot. Okay, let's just say this $400,000 house, which in California it's going to be very difficult to find, but they're still out there. Maybe not just the type that a home that you want to get, but they're out there. Let's just say that this family wants to get a $400,000 house at a 3% interest rate. Guess what? Their monthly payment is going to be $1,700. $1,700 for the monthly payment. But now let's just say that that same $400,000 house, interest rates now are 6%. Okay, guess what? $2,400. So $1,700, $2,400. Again, I go back to the example. This is an average of $700 to $800 a month that you have to pay additional towards your interest rates, which is why it reflects on why we're seeing the prices, the home existing home sales decrease month over month, year over year, 20%, month over month, 5.9%, 6%. That it's one of the explanations of why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. So with that being said, for me, it's, let's just say that you have a spouse, you have your wife, you have your husband, you have your two kids, you're happily married. You're happily married, and you say, you know what, honey, I'm tired of renting. I think that this is the time for us to get a house. Why don't we get with our realtor and let's find out where we are. Let's find out, see if we qualify. Great. You get with your realtor. They say, okay, let's get you qualified. But guess what? Let's just say that you guys are only bringing in $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, but you want to get a $450,000 house that is going to give you a $3,000 payment, a $2,500 payment. Honey, we can only afford $1,500 a month. I can only afford $1,500 a month. We cannot afford $2,500 payment. That is $1,000 a month. What about the kids? Where are they going to go? How are we going to buy the food? How are we going to buy the clothes? That is what we're seeing right now. So for those people, for those families, for those individuals, this is what I had to say to you. What if you take a step back and rather than making an emotional decision, you say, you know what, honey, we really want to get a house. That's something that we're going to do. However, what is it that we want right now? Well, we want to get a house. Can we afford it? No, we can't. Okay, what is it that we need? Well, we need to get out of this house right now because the owner is about to rent there. He's about to hike up our rent. What do? Do we ride it out? Do we ride the storm out? Do we go out there and go, find an additional source of income? Do we just go ahead and try to find something out, where we're gonna pay less? What do? That is a decision that a lot of families are facing right now. I'm currently dealing with one of them like that. Seller is selling the house. Guess what? The renters are paying $1,200 right now. They couldn't qualify for the loan to buy the house. The mortgage payment was going to be $2,500, no more than $2,500, $2,300 a month. They couldn't afford it, so now they have to go rent. Rent right now in the area, it's probably about $2,000, $2,100. They have to go find it anyways. They have to go pay that because that is the rental demand that we're seeing right now. There's a lot of demand for renters. So guess what? Guess what renters are doing? Not the renters, but the owners of the homes, the landlords. They're increasing the rent because they want a piece of the pie. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. So everybody's increasing the prices on the rentals. But if you're one of those spouses, family, husband and wife says, you know what, we really want the house, but I don't think we can afford it right now. We cannot afford it, so guess what we're going to do? We're going to write it out. Why don't we go ahead and go find an additional source of income? There's plenty of opportunities out there. I can get a side hustle. I can go, get a part-time. I can go get me a nighttime job. Honey, we're going to have to sacrifice for the next 10 to 12 months, maybe 24 months. But you know what? This market is not going to last forever. There's going to be an opportunity coming out of this right now because let me tell you, a lot of people see these as a fearful time. This is not the time to be fearful. This is the time for you to see that there's going to be an opportunity that's going to arise from all of this, and that is going to happen. Those that are prepared, they're going to win. They're going to win simply because they were prepared. They're making their next moves ahead of time. So back to my example, honey, you know what? We want to buy a house, but we're not there yet. I think we're in this step. We got to make step number 2. We're step number 1, number 2. Then after number 2, we're going to make number 3. Number 3, we're going to get an additional income. Number 4 is we're going to pay off all of our debt. Number 5 is we're going to continue to increase our savings so that we can have a payment for the down payment when the time comes for step number 6 for us to go buy the house. That is what you ought to do right now. I'm not saying that you should be doing that right now because everybody's situation is very different. Maybe you're at a point right now where you say, we can afford the house. We have money in the bank. We don't have any debt. Our kids are, we're blessed that we have this lifestyle that we have. And then guess what? We see an opportunity for that house that we want to get. We can afford those $3,000 a month because we bring in $11,000, $12,000 a month. I can afford that. I don't care if about the interest rate because guess what? I'm gonna refinance it later. Maybe step number 6. If you're in step number 5, number 6 at that point, it makes sense. But if you're in step number 2 and then you want to make step number 5, that's gonna be the wrong time and you're gonna get checkmate. So maybe this is the time for you to really analyze and really sit down and think, where are we at? It's almost like when you get the phone and then you say, well, we're gonna go to Texas. How do we get there? No problem. Let me go ahead and turn on the GPS. You turn on the GPS and then you say, okay, this is where we are. This is where we got to go. Same thing, except this is your financial map road. You need to analyze where you currently are right now. And I know most of you are not going to do it. Most of you are not even, you're gonna scroll through this video and you're gonna say, that guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. I'm just telling you what worked for me. What worked for me doesn't have to work for you. That is just what worked for me. So I'm just being the messenger. I'm like one of the apostles from Jesus Christ. Okay, but I'm one of the apostles of the financial. I'm just giving you the message. Something that worked out for me. You don't have to apply what I did. You don't have to follow every single step that I did. But maybe along the way, in everything that I'm saying, there's maybe a message for you. Maybe there's an opportunity. Maybe there's someone who you can relate this message to, and then therefore, you might benefit that person. You might be able to serve that person. Give that person the opportunity to make that move, to understand that this is the time to get your financial situation ready. There's never been an opportunity. There's never been a time for us as human beings. I'm in my mid 30s right now. And I didn't care about any of this stuff when I was in my early 20s. Needless to say, when I was in the Marine Corps, all I did in the Marine Corps was just party, not just all the time, but mostly what we did, it was just party, going on the weekends, out to drink, girls, you name it, fights. That's all I cared at that time. 19, 20-year-old. I'm no longer in that phase. I wish somebody would have told me what I already know today back then. And even if they did, I probably would have resisted it for a long time, which I did. I was a stubborn jarhead, knucklehead. I didn't get it. I didn't understand, but it's okay. I learned. So my service now, my purpose in life is to make sure that I share to you the message of some of the things that worked for me so that therefore you can make a better decision for you and your family so that you therefore can give them the lifestyle that they deserve. Back to my example. So 5%, 6% month over month, 20.2% year over year. Guys, this is incredible. We're going to continue to see this coming in the next couple of months. It was inevitable. I don't know why most individuals thought that this was not going to happen. This is something that is happening right now. And guys, it's going to continue to happen. What that's going to do as interest rates go up, we're going to see price decreases, but not the price decreases that you probably know about in 2008, 2009, where the market just shrunk. That was caused by the real estate banks, by the real estate mortgage industry. This has nothing to do with that. That was apples. This is oranges. Two different scenarios. This is just inflationary times that we're seeing right now, that it was caused due to a black swan, almost like a pandemic, where we didn't think it was going to be like that. The government came in, bailed us out, printing out almost 40%. Listen to this. Over the last 24 months, almost 40% of the entire total money in the country has been printed out. Some experts even say 50%. Some others say 60%. I think it's about 40%, 40 to 45% of the total money in the entire 200 plus history of the country. 40% of the total money was printed in the last 24 months. How can we not see inflationary times right now the way that we're seeing it? But then you hear people complaining. Everything is so expensive. Gas, food, prices, you name it. Great. Do you know what's happening? No, I do not. Why not? This is your opportunity. This is your duty. This is your job to find out, to assess yourself. Where are you currently sitting right now? Again, so that you can give your family that financial lifestyle that they deserve. So we're going to continue price decrease. We're going to continue to see price decreases. We're going to continue to see the sales of homes, just continue to decrease. As you already know, 20.2 year over year, 6% month over month. Guys, with that, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave you guys with that. But again, don't make step number 6 when you ought to be making number 1 or 2. Think about that for a minute. Think about making number 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you make number 6. Because what we want right now, what I wanted, and I still do, but I catch myself. I know that I know, because you know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. But I know that sometimes I want instant gratification. That's not going to happen. I need to sacrifice. I need to be able to write out whatever journey life has for me. And maybe you ought to do the same. With that, thank you so much, guys, for allowing me to share this message to you, because this is again something that I wanted to share with you all, and in the hopes that you can therefore apply some of the things that I just shared with you. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.